អារម្មណ៍អ្នកនឹងខ្ញុំដូចគ្នាយើងមើលគ្នាស្គាល់ព្រោះឈាមជ័រយើងដូចគ្នានេះជាសំឡេងចាស់ក្មេងស្ដាប់ឮដូចគ្នាឲ្យតែជាខ្មែរក្រុងស្រែជាបងប្អូនគ្នាអ្នក
It's me, Maria, with Nail Nation 3000 here on YouTube and Nail Nation on Facebook. For those of you who are following on Facebook, you're aware of the contests that we do. For those of you who are not following us on Facebook, please join us there in order to find out more details about contests and other things that we share there. And what we're going to do today is actually a design that will assist you in the details for the next contest that we're actually going to open for entries October 15th, 2012 on Monday, and it will run for entries through October 20th, 2012. So you're going to start with a base coat and 2 coats of your favorite black and white. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it on and let it dry completely prior to beginning the next steps. You're going to do 2 nails black, 2 nails white, and the opposing color. Now, if you're doing this with other colors, you're more than welcome. Just do the reverse color for this look. Now, I showed you a picture at the beginning of some of the items that I am using. You can use items that are similar or items that you have that might work the same way. The only image plate I'm using today is MASH 29, and we're going to use this skull here in the center. Red polish if you're following along with the same colors. You're just going to put a little bit of red on the palette and a little bit of your bright pink on the palette. You're going to take a little sponge like this one, and you're going to go over both colors, and it'll look like this. And on your thumb, just going to take it like this, and you just want to gently press pretty hard in the first corner, and then just lightly press here. And you can pick up a little more red or pink or whatever color you're using, and just kind of go over it like that. And we're going to do the same thing with our index finger. Rubber stamp and the scraper. Using the MASH plate, just pick one with a little skull on it or something that you might like that's similar. You just want to take it, pick it up like this, and you want to roll the skull at the bottom right hand corner of your pinky. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our midgie pen or your striping brushes, whichever you may be using, and we're going to draw in an outline that we're going to color in afterwards. So here in this corner here in the right, you just want to make a line like this. You want to start off with that center piece and then create a petal coming around, and then create another petal coming around, like this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create the outline for a leaf. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't have to be like a super perfect pattern. Part is you're going to create a little bit of a filigree pattern overlapping your sponging that we just did before. And you can make them go different directions. You can have a little more or a little less, whatever you like. It's going to look something like this. You're going to repeat that process on the thumb. So what you want to do is create these lines to create your petal. So you just bring some loops, and then you're going to create your leaf. Again, this doesn't have to be a perfect perfect pattern. They don't have to be an identical match. And then you're going to create a little bit of a filigree pattern, overlapping on the pink and red. And on your thumbs, they're a little bigger, so you might, add a couple of lines there. So the next thing that we're going to do while we're letting this outline dry, we're going to draw in another face here on the middle finger. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the white pen on the black side. We're going to create the eye socket first. And you can kind of start off sort of dotting it in. It doesn't have to be perfect at first because you can always correct it. So you can start out with sort of an oval shape and then create sort of a sad looking eye. Then you want to do the same thing across the other side. Especially if you have a Migi pen or you're doing it with a little brush or a dotting tool. You can make minor corrections if you let it dry a little bit. Use your tool and go back over it with the opposite color and you can fix it. Like here, I don't like this little bottom loop here. Just take the black, cover it up, create the bottom, and it makes them a little more uniform. Then we're going to create the nose, which is a little bit of an upside down triangle that kind of loops back up there. We're going to repeat this with the white. So far, this is where we are. Then we're going to create a really dramatic smile. And again, you want to use the white on the black side, and then the black on the white side. Like that. You can always bring your line back up a little bit. Take this. Then you're going to create these lines that you want them to be a little thicker at the top and let them drag down like his mouth is stitched shut. And repeat this on the other side. So he's going to look like this. You can either take your striping brushes or you can take your small brushes and use polish on a palette, and we're going to color in the roses. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the thumb first so that you can see. You're going to color in the center of your flower and then the edges of a few spaces in another petal or two. And you don't have to cover the whole petal, just part of it. And then you're going to take the bright pink as an accent color, and you're going to color in the rest of the petal that you didn't finish with the red. And just very gently follow the outside pattern of your leaf, like this. And then you're going to take your lighter pearl green. It's a little more transparent. You're going to fill in that space. And it's going to look something like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to color in the flower the same way, just using the small brush. Enter. Fill in the exterior petal and just the edges of some of the other petals. Then you're going to take your pink, fill it in, fill in the rest of your flower like this, and then with your leafing, if you have more than one leaf, you might choose to use several colors of green. So you take your brush and just fill in the edges of your leaf like this. Take your pearl green, just kind of drag it over. It's okay if you color over your center line for your leaf a little bit. It'll show through. If it doesn't bleed through, all you have to do is draw it again. You just put a few drops of top coat where you want your stones to be, and that little bit that's still on your dotting tool, you can take the stones and you're going to pick them up and just stick them directly on the space where you had, put them directly on the space where you had your top coat placed. While it's still a little bit damp, you can still kind of reposition them a little bit. And I just gave mine a little bit of an arch. And put them in the center for the eyes. And we're just going to place them in the middle, just like this. Since we have pink and red on the index finger and our thumb, I'm choosing to use pink stones in the eyes of the two skulls here. Just throw in a little color and you're going to drag it over and create the lines. Once you create your 3 lines, you're going to just gently take a little bit more of the white and create your loops. They don't have to be perfect. That's kind of what makes them look neat, is when they're not exactly uniform. And you can always go back in and create another line if you want another line going through your web. And it looks like this. If you're finished and you'd like to add a little bit of a 3D flair to your design, and you happen to like using little things like these little cast bows and things like that, you can always go back and put a small amount of glue, resin, or acrylic, depending on what you're using, and apply it in different places on the nails if you're trying to add bows, add flowers, things like that. You can even give your skull a little bow. Thank you